when you have built such a reputation, because I think the way that I described you was this guy I've seen wrestle so many times, right? I've seen you wrestle at live events, I've seen you wrestle on television, you name it. And not once can I honestly sit here and say I ever saw a Speedball Mike Bailey match that I was bored at or I didn't like. Not once. And that's hard. That's a very, very hard reputation to keep. But you have really built that because, I feel like no matter where you were in a room with like 10 people or 1,000 people, you always go at a certain pace. And I feel like the fans recognize that too. So when you were going into AEW, there was already that buzz because you had already, built this reputation of being this worker that people look forward to watching.
Well, obviously, if you're familiar with my story, I was banned from the United States. I couldn't enter for 5 years, which means that I was going to have to, look ahead to those 5 years and try to really make myself undeniable. And when opportunities like the possibility of joining AEW, would come back, then they wouldn't have a choice but to let me in. And in those 5 years, I worked for DDT a lot, which is a promotion in Japan that I absolutely love. And that's kind of where I learned about the difference between like subjectively good professional wrestling and objectively good professional wrestling. And in DDT, they do a lot of like they mess around with the format, right? They do a lot of weird pro wrestling, and sometimes you would have to do something like wrestle on gym mats in the middle of a shopping mall, just in the middle of the day, right? When people buy tickets to a pro wrestling show, they're expecting to see pro wrestling. They're expecting the performers. They're excited to see them. When pro wrestling just happens and you're off to buy a new pair of jeans, it's different. But you can still make it good and to be able like to build the skill set where people can see professional wrestling and they don't expect it. They don't know that it's there. They don't know what it is. They don't even necessarily want it. And you still have to bring these people on your side. You still have to give them a great show. You have to make sure that they then follow the product. I think that's an entirely different skill set to have as a professional wrestler. And that is absolutely what I wanted to bring back to America when I was finally able to join one of the major promotions.